So welcome everybody to this breakout session on community action for food access and justice. Just a reminder, we're going to have Tanya Holland and Kelly Carlisle with us. I can't see if you're here yet, but that's all right. I'm Constance Washburn, and I'm a member of Slow Money, Northern California. I also worked in farmland preservation and local food education for 20 years. So this is a topic close to my heart. So we're having a chat, so you can type your questions in chat and I'll read through them and share them out. Please share your experiences, what has worked for you in your community. And we're holding what's said in the circle in confidentiality. So thank you very much. And is Kelly here? Oh, before we start, I wanted to take a moment for us to send some prayers and well-wishing to Doria Robinson, who's the Executive Director of Urban Tilth, who's going to be here with us today, but she just lost 2 family members to COVID-19. She has another family member who's dying of cancer right now, so she's going through a lot. So their organization, Urban Tilth, will be a beneficiary of this event, but also let's have her and that organization, that community, be a beneficiary of our blessings and our prayers and our well-wishing. So just take a moment. You may not know Doria, she's an awesome, awesome woman, huge change maker, Earth Mama, and just sending her our prayers for her health and for her family's health and for the community. So thank you. So Kelly, would you like to start off the conversation if you're here? I don't know if I see her.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, great. There you are. Thank you.
No problem. I guess we're talking about community action for food access and justice.
Yeah.
Does anybody, I mean, you know, we're not supposed to, I'm not supposed to do another speech or anything. So why don't we just talk about what came up for folks as they were a part of the conversation today.
Kelly, can I ask a question? This is Elise.
Hey.
Hi, Kelly, you look beautiful.
You do too.
I thought it was so interesting to me that kind of the investment finance panel and kind of the other panels in terms of like food access as well as to like food entrepreneurship wasn't a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
It was very, and on a certain level, I get that, like, you know, they probably prepared, you know, talking points before they came on the webinar. But I thought it was so interesting that's my toaster. I thought it was so interesting that like some of the obstacles and tension points that you and Tanya and Chef Chu brought up weren't addressed. And so, to be honest with you, I had a hard time choosing which breakout room I wanted to be in. I wanted to be in this one because this is where the party's at. But, but I was like a little like, I was like, oh, right. And also because I don't feel like we're bringing forward things that are really new in terms of talking about these obstacles to equity or entries to barrier. And so I'll leave it there, but I thought I'm still processing that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I mean, I'm right there with you, and this is like what crossed my mind during that panel was like, and so the disconnect continues, right? Like the idea that, you know, I'm here writing notes, you know, from each one of the panels and trying to like, you know, if I'm called on to address something, you know, I'll be able to do that. And they weren't, you know, like they didn't reference many or any of the things that we talked about in the other 2 panels. And I think it's par for the course. And I think that, you know, I hope that somebody is in that room talking to them about it, because it's just going to keep perpetuating, because they're not really built to hear us, you know, like, hey, you know, hey, we're here. You know, they're talking about what they're already doing, and I'm sure it's great work, but it doesn't, for me, I don't feel connected to their work at all. And I can't imagine that they feel connected to my work unless, you know, I do that thing that we non-profiteers do, you know, like the heartstrings, you know, like, you know, giving to investing in this company is great for your portfolio, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. But
But
giving
even
to,
that,
you know,
Kelly, even that to me, because I mean, even, you know, when you're like, I hope someone's in their room bringing this up,
Mhm.
I was like, but do we want to be that girl today?
Right,
Like, do we want to be the one shaking the table at all times?
right, right,
Like, is that always our job? Right?
exactly.
And where's the reciprocity? Where's the line in terms of them taking ownership and self-reflection?
And what's the
And I hope,
likelihood of them having one of them aha moments, you know, like, oh, you know what? I didn't even realize that I did that. Let me address it now. You know, like that for me would be justice, as if they suddenly like, you know what, you're right. I was so focused on what I was doing. You know what I mean? But I didn't get that. I don't have that feeling. And the question of do you want to be that girl today? It's like,
I know
Yes,
it's every Tuesday,
thank you.
Thursday, and every other Friday. But yes, thank you, Kelly.
no worries.
Anybody else want to jump in on this conversation? Yeah.
Hi,
Hi, Kayla.
Kyla.
I'm Kayla.
Hi.
Kayla.
I'm here on behalf of Heather K. Terry Consulting, and as somebody who just graduated with a master's in food policy and applied nutrition from Tufts University,
Mm,
and as somebody who's obviously coming into the food industry from a very junior angle, you know, how can I help push the people that we are working with in terms of consulting to do those things that you're mentioning, Kelly? Like how do I, somebody who you know, I'm listened to but not necessarily prioritized in terms of decision making, how do I then influence these things beyond embodying them myself and trying to listen and learn personally?
mm.
That's a great question. I think that, you know, and for the last few years, and most especially in the last couple of months, folks have been talking about allies and accomplices and, you know, like uplifting voices of people of color. And I think that's probably where you can most be helpful, right? Is continuing to ping what you learned, you know, continuing to repeat it over and over again, giving credit, of course, you know, like saying, you know, like Tanya Holland had this really great line, or, you know, Chef Chu had the line about building the ladder as, you know, before we can
Go.
climb it. That moved me. I'm like, that feels exactly like what the last 10 years have been like. Maybe being an advocate at those tables, you know, saying we should really get someone in here that's from this kind of community or from, you know, this specific place, you know, with this specific experience. Because so often, coming from my brief time in the corporate world, like folks are just trying to stand out on their own, as opposed to, you know, really raising voices and saying, you know, like, as we're at this table, the justice part, who are we missing? Why weren't they invited? How can we get them here? How soon? You know, like, missing voices is bad for everyone, right? those are those are my big ideas. What about you,
Yeah, yeah.
Constance? Uh-huh.
Well, I was going to say, because I'm at heart an educator, and educating about food and nutrition and justice and equity and the true history of our country is so, it's all tied together. And how can we bring the wisdom of all our community into our education system and start linking all our kids with food and the earth and indigenous wisdom as well as African American wisdom and all the rest of it. So yeah, getting all those people at the table. Marissa, you had something?
Yeah, I think Kelly, hi. I think
Hi.
that, hey, I think what I'm looking for, you know, this is to help raise money for you, and I know that's supportive, but what's missing? What is it? What else do you need to really be successful? What, you know, what's your ask here besides money?
That's always tricky. You know, I was thinking, as we talk about shaking tables and being at the table, Elise, are you still there? I'm thinking about last year we won the Atlantic All-State Renewal Award. And part of that award was to send me to Aspen for the Ideas Fest. And while I was there, there was some like big editor guy, you know, like if you read the Atlantic and the New York Times or whatever, you would know who he was. But and I'll come back to that. But, you know, it was just some guy that, you know, had a private lunch, you know, with some of us renewal award winners, blah, blah. And he's asking us to join this movement. And the movement wasn't well defined. And I'm like, I'm already doing that. And he's like, don't you want to join my movement? And I'm like, do I get a t-shirt? I'll join if I get a t-shirt, you know? And somebody at the table, you know, is like, I think what so-and-so is saying is that we're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to give up some of your privilege. And I was like, I just got here. You know?
Wow.
I don't have any privilege. I mean, I guess it's my privilege to eat this dry ass chicken, but you know, I've just got here. You know, what do you want? And I mean, to this day, you know, I still get emails, you know, from his team and everything. Please join us. And I'm like, I don't know what we're joining. What am I joining? And I say that to answer your question, in that it's really hard to ask for things outside of money, because sometimes what we get is what I'll speak for myself and my org. What we get is really bad advice. We get dragged into things we have no business being involved in. We, you know, I find myself reminding people that we are not going to contribute to the humanitarians of Instagram. You will not come to our farm and take pictures with our kids and be like, this is his first time with kale, you know, like that's not what we're doing. So, you know, people offer us things all the time that I'm just like, I don't know what I would do, you know, with one free weekend in Cabo. You know what I mean? Like, what, you know, how is that going to help the org?
How do you define your success then? I mean, what is your success story? The kid that you started with 10 years ago and where they are now, isn't that where it comes, you know, where are they?
I mean, I can tell you that we have 165 success stories a year. Every time a kid, you know, jumps up and down and says, you know, like, I cooked, you know, everything is online now. Our camp is online for the first time ever, you know, and when we see them, you know, on video holding up their chard and pasta, you know, salad and whatnot, every time a parent says, we didn't know if this was going to work out, but you really, you know, you got great people. The counselors are nice, you know, like I can tell you that our oldest student, our oldest camper, just turned 16. And in terms of success, he's got, you know, he's on the honor roll. I don't know if that can be attributed to acting on Verba. He's into science. I hope that can be attributed to acting on Verba. But his savings account, which started out with $175, is now, you know, over $7,000, you know, for his education. It's really exciting.
I just wanted to, I think they're going to whoop us back in a moment to the main group. So Jeannie, did you want to add something? I've been watching your head nodding and interacting. If you wanted to share, just to get everybody's voice in the room, and Sarah and Marlena. Jeannie, can you unmute yourself if you wanted to say something?
Oh, sure. Actually, I didn't. I actually wanted to hear more of Kelly and Elise's conversations and centering what they had to share, especially around, you know, this isn't representation, and giving small things, small tokens isn't enough. What we want is system change. We want to change the conditions that create voicelessness. It's not enough to just give somebody a voice. Like I want to center and put like the Black femmes at the leadership positions. I want them to have the power to create this change. And like, yeah, it's not just about money. And so I'm just also with Elise and hearing that frustration on like, these solutions are what communities have been saying, but when you talk to those in power, they're not going to accept to give up that power. So I guess I'm ready just about joining the movement, to take that power back, to demand that power back to community, rather than just, you know, small acts of basically placating communities, making them feel like they have power, when in reality, those are small tokens and change. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there, and thank you so much, Kelly, for your time and for speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, Kelly. I'm being buzzed and notified that we're supposed to be going back to the main group.